welcome everyone to the CRE Arena. Today we have Cleveland Sainpreux. Man, this is actually round two that we've done this, and you were the first ever guest in the CRE Arena. So, Cleveland, brother, welcome to the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Augie. It's wonderful to be here again. And you called me when I was first in the business of commercial real estate, and now I'm 3 years in. I'm very
Yep.
happy to share with you what some of the progress that I've gotten and, just chat and have fun.
That's exactly what it's about, man. And so yeah, that's what I thought. This is a perfect opportunity because you were just coming up. You were brand new in the business, and now you're in year three. So to get us started, man. So like, what? How do you describe it? How have the past 2 years been in the business? Been for you? I mean, it's a crazy time in your career, right? Just getting started, but it's been a crazy time in this country. So like, how have the past 2 years been for you?
Yeah, I'm going to say when I first started, I knew nothing about commercial real estate. So coming into this business was very unique, a very uh, brand new experience for me, and also an adventure. In fact, when I started doing some work, I realized I came in, if not during the toughest time during commercial real estate, I didn't know it at the time, when interest rates started climbing up and investors are saying, hey, I'm not really interested in purchasing or selling anything at this time. And it was a very unique situation to be in, but I stuck through it, learned a lot. It was like drinking water from a fire hose, just constantly just trying to figure out what's my next move, how am I going to find my next listing, databasing, understanding the brokerage continuing. All of these things were present, and at the same time, I had to, position myself in a place to be a student and just learn and understand this is not going to be like a real quick race, but it is a marathon. So, commercial real estate, as you already know, is not something that you make a transaction today and you're going to get paid in 30 days or 60 days. It could take a very long time. And, being in sales for over 15 years, having that long sales cycle, I really had to understand the nuances and the details that go behind a commercial real estate deal. So, been through it for 3 years now, and I have a better understanding about the deal flow and building relationships and understanding what it looks like to have an active pipeline. So, that's what I've gotten over the past 3 years, just building these relationships and trying to get more deals under my belt.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, man. And where a lot of people struggle first starting out is the value that they provide to the other side. Like you're in South Florida, so like you're around a bunch of wealthy people that have a bunch of deal experience, transaction experience, and like I said, they got a lot of money too. And coming into the business, that can be kind of intimidating. So, how did you step up in that way and say like, hey, even though this person's worth 10, 50, $100 million, I have something to provide them.
Great question. Listen, I I had imposter syndrome. If you're not familiar with what it is, I felt like I literally did not belong in commercial real estate. And because I'm looking at these millionaires, like this young kid from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, who comes from a very humble background, sitting down with people who own 6 to 12 commercial properties, it didn't click, right? Maybe 10 months, 12 months into the business, I'm thinking like, I don't belong here. This is so weird. I remember one of my meetings to give you an idea. I met up with this property owner and at Starbucks, and I remember sitting down and I parked in front of um, the desk seating area, and I'm waiting for him, and he pulls up in a Rolls Royce, and I'm like, wow. And I'm right next to his car is a Toyota Corolla. That's my car. So I'm like, man, this here's a Toyota Corolla and a Rolls Royce, but we're sitting down and we're still able to connect. And let me tell you what, it made me realize that though people own commercial property and they may be very rich and high net worth, many of these guys are down to earth and they come from nothing too. Like, these guys
Yeah.
start from the bottom, and specifically that gentleman, he started from the bottom. He ran his business, he ran it well. He eventually acquired one of the properties that he was running his business out of, and we connected from his beginning, his roots. And I realized,
Yep.
man, though though he is rich and he has a lot of money in commercial property, I was able to still connect with him at a very, even level where it wasn't out of touch where I'm thinking this guy's gonna think I'm not able to advise him because everybody has a different starting ground. I have a different starting ground than
Yeah.
somebody else who may come from a wealthy family, but doesn't mean I can't have the wisdom to advise you. Wisdom comes from everyone. And so it doesn't
Yep.
wisdom doesn't belong to the rich. It belongs to whoever seeks it and looks for an opportunity. So and that's what has allowed me to feel more comfortable in these situations, understanding that I do have a level headed mind and I'm able to advise people regardless of your status or your bank account.
Yep. Yep. That totally makes sense, man. And that's I love what you said there, brother. You said wisdom doesn't come to the rich; it comes to those who look for it or seek it. I think that's so much wisdom in itself. So I love that, and I can relate to that as well. I felt the same thing getting into the business. I was like, man, I have no means to sit down with these guys and talk deals and numbers, etc. Because they're worth a million X of what I am when I was starting off in the business. But yeah, you're absolutely right. A lot of those folks, they will see they've started off in humble beginnings and they were able to rise, and they can also like see you on the rise as well. And what I've learned is a lot of those guys will see themselves in you. Which is a pretty cool deal. So to give you that business, did you win the deal with the guy, or like how did that one end up?
Well, yeah, that was more like of a relationship building, meeting where I had the opportunity to meet
Gotcha.
someone who owned in the area, someone who was very familiar with the commercial properties in South Florida. He owned several retail shopping centers, so it was one of those things where in this business, as you already know, it's a relationship building business. I might not do business with them until, 2, 3, 4 years down the road. And understanding that I'm
Yep.
not looking to get business from him right now unless he was actively
Yeah.
looking to sell. But one thing I can tell you is he is an active buyer. He was looking for
Yep.
opportunities, and whenever I get a deal, I always put it in front of him, and he knows my name. Whenever I call him on the phone, I have a
Yep.
first name basis with him, so he can say, "Hey, Cleveland, thanks for calling. What do you got?" Right? Compared to who are you? And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
creates value there, both on the brokerage and
Yep.
that relationship with the property owner, because you already know when you're cold calling somebody and they don't know who you are, and you have to explain to them like who what your business is about, your value proposition, and all these things. It can be
Yep.
very challenging, right? But when
Yeah.
you're able to call someone and they already know who you are, your job is already halfway done, and you've already built that trust. And trust
Yeah.
is very, very valuable. And that's where we're able to do business, because people do business with people they trust.
Yeah, no, amen, brother. You hit the nail on the head. I love that. That's what it is, and I think where a lot of brokers go wrong, especially newer, younger brokers, is they think that they're going to say something on a cold call that all of a sudden is going to make somebody that's worth 50 million sell their $5 million property. It's like, oh yeah, you called me. We've never met before, but like, you want to list my property for sale? Sure. Like, I don't know if that's ever happened, right? So like, I think a lot of the brokers going into it, just that commission breath or that kind of quick and dirty versus like, hey, this is a relationship. And like, when I was getting started, I was trying to make like my first cold call. My entire goal was that I didn't have to make another cold call. Was that like the next time I called that person, that like it was a warm call. They knew my name, they remembered me, etc. And the best way to do that is form that genuine connection and provide value to that person. So it seems like you guys are doing it the right way. And is that like is this the entire team's approach? Because I mean, you, Adam, Elon, like you guys are on fire, dude, and you guys are crushing it down there. So like, is this the entire team's mantra of how you you guys are building relationships and providing value. Like, what does that look like from a team level and the amount of success you guys have had?
All right, so I wouldn't interrupt this podcast if I did not think it could massively benefit your business. If you do deals with commercial property owners, then you need REC. You can fly the map, you can prospect owners like never before, up to 160 million parcels with mass prospecting features, and you can put more deals in your pipeline all within one platform. So head over to GetREQ, that's GetREHQ.com/arena for a special offer solely for our podcast listeners. I'll see you there.
Yeah, from being on a team, you're taught these habits, right? I don't come with these habits on my own. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. This is something that I was able to learn from a team that navigated me through this time, and how to build relationships, right? You build relationships over a cup of coffee, meeting someone in person, face to face, shaking their hands, looking them in the eye. It's these
Yep.
type of ways that we're able to garner business, right? Once we're able to meet them in person, then we can talk about what their needs are, their goals, what their plans are for this property. Because we're not really talking about the property, we're talking about the opportunity at the end of the day. What opportunities out there, and that's why in this business, even when I was cold calling, if there's not an opportunity out there, they'll on the other side of the phone, they'll say, "Hey, look, I don't see an opportunity. I don't see a reason for me to sell because I don't see anything else to buy when I sell." So
Yep.
when it comes to that opportunity, it only comes from sitting down with them, having that conversation. And it is a process, right? It's not just wham bam, thank you, ma'am. This is a quick call, but cultivating a relationship is what matters most. And cultivating means following up. Following up is
Yeah.
there's fortune in the follow up. Following up via email, text messages, if you have to send a card or a mailer, or simply calling them with some level of value. And it's funny because when I say the word value, it was always something like very general and vague. But adding value is simply sharing a comp that's relatable to them, a sales comp, a
Yep.
lease comp, a development nearby, and just sharing that information. And, coming from a sales background, I always felt like I had to sell something, but ultimately, that's valuable information for their property that can possibly let them know that their building is worth more than they thought it was, or that they can gain
Yep.
more income or cash flow from their building by sharing some market rents with them. And, just to go off a real quick tangent, still staying on the topic, I had a property owner that I was
Please.
working with right now, recently, and they said, "Cleveland, I'm not looking to sell, but what can you do to help me?" And I say, "Look, what are your rents? What do your rents look like?" They shared their rents. Rents were X, and I said, "Your rent should be at Y. You're missing about 50% of the market right now." And so we ended up talking a
Wow.
little more about what can they do to reposition their leases to increase their rents. And I told them, where Y is, and this property owner was able to write two new leases at the new lease rate, right? New rent rate. And when I say
Yep.
this property owner was happy, they were absolutely happy because one, they're getting money. They're not having to pay money out of pocket for the taxes and insurance, like they were doing before. I mean, they weren't
Yeah.
running their property efficiently, so where they had to come out of pocket. Where now they can pay their bills more, and the
Yep.
value of their
Yep.
properties higher, and especially now they're saying, "Cleveland, look, I want this amount for my building." And I told them, "Look, your property is not worth that much based on your current rents. If you get your rents up within 2-3 years, yes, your property will be worth more." And
Yep.
so yeah, it's things like that, adding value to a conversation by providing them real market data that they can actually implement with their leases, with their have conversations with their tenants. So yeah.
That's huge, man, and that's huge, and people don't get that enough. Is the value that you're providing? So I mean, it's actionable. It's increasing the value of their property. It's like, Why would I talk to Cleveland? Why would I talk to Augie? It's because I'm going to be in a better off position because I did so. You educated me about the rents. Now my property is worth more. I think that's something that people don't get enough of is that they need to provide extreme amounts of value to the market. So that's a great point, man. I brought it up earlier, Elon and Adam. What is it like, man? We had Elon on the podcast. We haven't had Adam yet, but what's it like to work with Elon and Adam? And like, how does the team flow? How do you guys all complement each other well?
You know, when I work on a team, I rather work on a team hands down. I wouldn't do this
Yeah.
business on my own. Mainly
Yep.
for the reason you have two successful people who know how to negotiate deals, who know how to find opportunities, and have the talk track and the history to be able to speak on. So that already has given me leverage, even coming in from the very beginning and not being able to speak on, like, I didn't have any inventory to speak on, but they did. So the
Yeah.
collective we really helped me navigate this business very well from the very beginning. Because now I can speak to about, look, we just recently sold 5 retail shopping centers in this specific region. I can say we did, right? Compared to
Yep.
I sold nothing, right?
Yeah.
Cleveland
Yeah.
Sainpreux sold
Yeah.
nothing compared to we. Um, the team mentality has helped a lot. So again, you know, what they bring and what I can tell you is that Adam and Elon, they have their unique abilities where I can draw from both, right? Like Elon, he has a mentality where he goes based on he has high energy. He has very high energy, and he goes on relationships, and he builds on conversations, and he has that when that aspect. When it comes to Adam, he's more analytical, right? He looks
Hmm.
everything
Yep.
through the lens of numbers. um, he reads the Wall Street Journal, very linear in many ways. So having a
Yep.
combination of those two allows me to see brokerage from a different perspective from two different people, right? Brokerage
Yeah.
can be done in different ways. There's not one way to do brokerage. I'm very sure the way you do brokerage is not the way that Adam and Elon does brokerage or the way I do brokerage. But it all works, right? If you can master the skill of building relationships, knowing the data, providing value to your property owners and to those who really need it, then you're able to do business with them because you've gained that trust. You've gained the ability and credibility to do business with them. So it takes time, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so as I've learned over the years from Adam and Elon, it's simply just learning, observing, and doing what they mentioned, right? Calling as many property owners as you can to get the deals and to get the meetings, and the meetings turn into proposals, and the proposals turns to listings, and the brokerage continuum is very important here. And so having them here in many ways guiding you, holding your hand through the process until you say, look, I don't need your holding you holding my hand anymore. I can do this on my own. It's been a very good journey to do that, to learn from a group of individuals that are able to produce and do well.
Yeah, no, absolutely, brother. I love that, man, and I get a little jealous sometimes when I see the vibe in the office. I'm just like, man, that's a good crew you're with, man, and it just seems like you guys are having so much fun. So don't get me wrong, love our Central Florida crew. We have a lot of fun up here, but Elon and Adam, and I know the crew has grown too, right? Like you guys have added new associates, so you guys are doing a good job, man, and have a great culture down there, which seems like just a really cool and fun place to come work. Great energy. So for you, one thing I mean, there's a lot of unique things about you, but for those that don't know, father of 6, okay? Not exactly Abraham, but you do have many sons, right? Like, so, I guess daughters too, but 6 kids. And then, so remind me the ages and the boy and girl breakdown.
Yeah, so my children, the age range is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11, and they're split in between, just right in the middle.
That's
Three boys, three girls.
yeah.
So
Wow.
every
And,
two
and then
years.
and then is it all mixed? Is it all mixed and mingled, or is the top half, or is the older the boys, younger the girls, or it's
Yeah,
mixed?
my first is actually my daughter. So we had our daughter first, and then we had three boys in a row, and then we had two
Yep.
girls in a row. And so
There you go.
yeah, it's a fun experience to be a dad and father. A lot of my patience come from being a father. When it comes to being a dad and doing commercial real estate, eh, this business requires a lot of patience, right? Deals can easily fall through, opportunities fall by the wayside when you think you're going to get a rep agreement sent out and signed. Uh, it takes a long time. You get ghosted, and all you can do is just be patient and trust that the process will work. So being a father has allowed me the opportunity to build my patience, to just to have fun too. I love in some ways to be a kid again when I go home and a celebrity, right? Like when I come home, it's screams and hollers of daddy and hugs and kisses.
Yep.
Like I'm already a millionaire. Like I'm already successful. Now I just need my bank account to catch up, right? And so
Yeah.
so ultimately it's like, you know, and I'll leave you with this, like my wife, I can't say enough about my wife. I can't be on this show and talk about me and the kids without giving credit to my wife. My wife is remarkable,
Yeah.
bodacious, amazing, awesome, all of it. She's a
Yeah.
Proverbs 31 woman. If you're
Mm.
familiar with the Bible, she's a woman worth far more than rubies. And so
Yep.
for me, she is someone that gives me the support that I need, someone that gives me the encouragement in a time where I may possibly feel anxiety or depression or whatever it is. She can pray that out, pray it up,
Yeah.
and make me get back to
Yeah.
focus and call that calling that's inside of me, remind me of the calling that's inside of me to focus on what,
Yeah.
what I can do. So, and I know you got
Yeah.
kids too, so I know you know what it looks like and what it feels like to be a father,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
that motivation that's already given when you come into this business, right? You can't say, Cleveland, what's your
Yeah.
motivation? Is it money? Is it this or that? No, man, I got six kids I gotta feed, bro. You think I'm here to play? Like I gotta get this
Yeah. Yeah.
listing to feed my family, man. I'm not here to play around. I'm here to
Yep.
I'm gonna outperform anybody and everybody when I get this listing. Why? Because I got kids to feed.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
100%, 100%, man. That's a telltale sign. If you wonder if people are going to be successful in this business, it's you gotta look at what they're responsible for. Look at I don't say liabilities, but look at what they have to pay out every month. Who is counting on them to succeed, right? That was like one of my favorite stories. Rafael Mendez came to us, and Jonathan Barreras, our COO, wanted him to interview with me. I was one of the top producers of the firm at the time, and he said like, "Hey, sit down with Rafael, and then let me know what you think. If you think he's going to be successful, if he's got it." And then I talked to him, and he was a sharp young guy. But then I learned he had 4 kids. And I told JB, I was just like, he's like, so what do you think, Raphael? And I was like, bro, I was like, he's got 4 kids. I was like, he can't suck. Like he's got to get it, dude. Like I think he's gonna win. And yeah, sure enough, he's the managing director in our Orlando office, and awesome producer. And his son actually just interned with them, which is pretty cool. So like, yeah, the weight and the pressure that kids can put on you, it can be heavy, but it is a blessing from the Lord, and it does help produce things in the business. When you have that amount of pressure, you are going to put in the extra rep. You are going to make that extra call, no matter how scared or how timid you are. It's like, man, I got 6 mouths. I got a bunch of people counting on me to step up to the plate and do a good job here. So. I love that, man. That's a dad's superpower in the commercial real estate business. However, with 6 kids and an incredible wife, this means the schedule is busy. So, what does a typical day in the life of Cleveland look like?
Well, I could tell you a majority of my time is spent at work, right? And so that's why, when I come to work, I gotta focus on what matters the most. My question to myself: what's closest to the money, right? Like that's how
Yeah.
my day starts. What's the closest thing? What's the closest deal or opportunity that brings me closest to the money? And I focus on that activity. And of course, phones play a huge role and factor about what I do, and so
Yep.
that's going to play a role. But I time block. I time block my time when I need to be making phone calls. I'm time blocked for times like this where I'm going to have other engagements such as podcasts and other things, and also have time blocked for my family and for emails and mailers and my calendar. If you look at my calendar, it looks like a Christmas tree, color coded with
Same.
everything. Like it's just crazy, and it's one of those things where if I don't have a calendar, I'm gonna miss out, and I won't see all the responsibilities that I have before me. And I never used to live this way,
Yeah.
but I have to because there's so much going on, and to be responsible and to respond to the obligation and the duties and the responsibilities in my life. The only way I could do is have it in front of me in a calendar. Otherwise, if I don't,
Yep.
I'm going to miss it and I'll be irresponsible. And people are counting
Yep.
me counting on me in all areas of my life, as a father, as a son, as a commercial real estate agent. So I have to make sure that as I'm balancing all these roles, that I'm still addressing the things that are very important in my life. So it also requires that I say no to a lot of activities as well. So no
Yep.
is a very powerful word for me to say no. No, I can't do it at this time. No, I won't. I'm not available to meet you, or so I have to be very selective because my time is very limited.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So how and I want to talk about this, especially being a fellow brother in Christ and man of faith. There's a lot of weight on you, right? Like 6 kids, a house, and with being a man of faith, with so much to provide for, so much responsibility in a business that is 100% commission. You eat what you kill. Uh, how do you deal with that?
Every year I have a year Bible verse that I meditate on for an entire year. Of course, we have Bible verses that we read. This year, my Bible verse that I've been meditating on is trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. That's in the book of
Yeah.
Proverbs. And many
Yep.
times, especially this year when things can get a little quite hectic and uncertain, where I can feel that pressure and the burden. I literally have to say, I trust you, God. Like I really trust you. This is not on me. That burden has to be lifted off of me because I have to give it to God right now. A lot of times I'm looking in the world of commercial real estate. Let me give you like what pressure are you talking about, Cleveland? Like, right? Okay, you mentioned it. You got a wife, you have
Yep.
6 kids, you got a house, you got cars. My wife is a stay-at-home wife, right? So she's a domestic specialist, right? And so the pressures of paying bills, the responsibility of raising children God's way. These are
Yeah.
things that can be pressuring on someone.
Yeah.
And so, as I live my daily life and I want to uphold these values in my life, there's times in my own strength, I can't do it. So I have to trust in God. I have to say, God, I'm giving this to you, and you're going to have to handle this. You put me here. You
Yeah.
gave me this purpose. You allow me to be in this position of commercial real estate, and you're going to have to be the one that guides me and carry me through this season because ultimately, yes, I look at commercial real estate as an opportunity where, yeah, it's hard in the first few years, but after a while, once you start getting deals done, that's when you become wealthy and rich or whatever you want to do with your money, right? Um, but it does take time. It's not something that happens overnight. So with that said,
Yeah.
you're on this journey And as I'm on this journey, I want to make sure that I'm putting God first in my ways, in my work, in my family. These are the things, these are the
Yeah.
pillars in my life that I want to make sure I'm bringing it all to Him, even though it can be stressful. I try not
Yeah.
to think about it too much and just give it to God. So I wake up in the morning, man. Yeah, I pray, and I say, God, I pray that you set my path before my feet, that I may focus on you, and yeah, and that's pretty much it. Right now, my focus is just simply trusting in the Lord with all my
Yeah.
heart, not a little bit, but all of it, and trusting
Yeah.
that he's going to direct my path, and it's going to work out. He's been faithful enough. I'm 40. I'm going to be 40 years old this year, so it's gonna. I say that he's been faithful for 40 years, and I'm very sure he'll be
Yeah.
faithful for another 40 and plus years. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna live in that promise, right? So
Yeah, yeah, that's so good, brother, and I appreciate you digging in there. This is there's two things on that which I had thought the other day. I was talking to a mentor of mine, and I was talking about the pressure. Right, same thing. It's 4 kids. It's business. It's startup. It's all of this that's heavy on your shoulders. Being a single income family and a bunch of kids running around the house, and that weight of that responsibility just it felt incredibly heavy, and still like I was going through a season where it's just like and still going through it, coming out of it, but just like that weight just felt so heavy. And then a mentor of mine was telling me, he asked me like, what do you believe that God is responsible for? And like, do you think He's responsible for a few things? And I was like, I think everything, right? Like He created everything. And he's like, okay. And then so God's word and you as a Christian, as a believer, is to imitate Christ and to be more like Christ. And so if God and Father, Son, Holy Spirit, if that responsibility is everything, and you are becoming more like Christ, and you have a lot of responsibility, a lot of weight on you, he's like, can you see how that's making you more like Christ? And it was just a very powerful reframe for me, as far as like, I don't say woe is me, but yes, like you feel that heavy burden and you're just like, feels like it's weighing you down in a sense, versus like, man, this is me becoming more like Christ, and He's given me these responsibilities, which are massive, massive blessings, right? The kids, the family, the business, everything we're doing. So like they are such blessings, and God is using that for my sanctification. And so that's one of the things that I had thought of. And then the other, man, is in Matthew. It's for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And to have rest in that is something that's huge, man. Which it does take picking up your cross daily, right? Because you can read this, you can say this one time, but it's that daily deal. I remember, like I said, it's been waking up at 4:30 in the morning, and even before my feet hit the ground, you just like, I was putting on that weight, I was putting on that pressure, and it's just like, we're not intended to carry that. So that's been a big reshift, reframe for me. That's been super beneficial. Let's see here, man. And then actually, I was going through your LinkedIn posts, and you actually mentioned that proverb. You posted it, I don't know, a few days ago, but yeah, it just sums up what you said. Life can get overwhelming. We often feel the need to control every outcome, but true peace comes from letting go and trusting a higher plan. Faith means believing even when the path is unclear. Embrace uncertainty as an opportunity for growth. With each step, remember you're never alone on this journey. Just have faith and keep moving forward. What a good word, man. And yeah, that comes from your proverb of the year. And I absolutely love that, because there is peace in this journey, and the good Lord does provide that peace. So absolutely love that, man. How in this last 2 years, what, if you could sum it up, maybe something that stuck out to you, what has the Lord taught you over the last 2 years as a man? and going through this process of making it in the business, providing for 6 kids, and that burden, that responsibility, that heavy weight. If you can sum it up, what do you feel like the Lord's been doing in your life over the past 2 years? If you could sum it up in just one thing.
Well, it's hard to just sum it up all that's happened over, these past 3 years. I think, uh, if anything, it's going back to that verse of trusting in Him, right? Like you know, we cannot underestimate coming from a corporate job, right? Working a 9 to 5, trusting that you're going to get paid every week or every 2 weeks. That there's a level of security that comes along with that, but there's a loss of freedom. And when I made the transition over here, my goal was to have more time freedom and the opportunity to spend more time with my family, but at the same time be able to make decisions. I desire to have more decisions and options in my life as I get older. Money is a
Yeah.
little less more important, but money gives me opportunity to have options and decisions. So the only way I
Yep.
can go about that is by making money. So God has allowed me to just simply trust in what He's doing in my life, and again to draw information from other people as well, right? Like, well, what I
Yeah.
mean by that is a lot of times I want to say, hey, can you show me what to do, or I want to learn how to do that. No, the better question is, who do I know can do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can leverage my time based on other relationships that I currently have in my circle. My circle is very important to me. Why? Because if I don't know something, I will be the first one to tell you I'm not sure, but I know
Yeah.
someone who does. I know a
Yep.
really good, and I can go and tell you that I'm very good at vetting people personally and business wise. Vetting to me is one of the most important things about my life. This is what I do. And when I vet
Yeah.
someone, I want to vet them first on character and also their abilities. So when I'm talking about I have a business, I'm running a business here. And so if I say I want to recommend this person to help you with, I don't know, a property condition assessment, right? Trust me, they're good at what they do. It probably can get it done for you within 7 days, right? Something real quick, accurate, and good. Same thing when it comes
Yep.
to my circles. God has shown me right now the people who are around you are very important, and be very mindful for the people who are around you, because what you know is not as important about who you know. You've heard it before. And in the book of Psalms, it says, "Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the paths of sinners, nor sit in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night, and in his law." So what that basically means is the people who I'm surrounding myself with, the who's are the people that will help define me and my future. So it's so
Yeah.
important that I'm distinguishing the people I'm putting in my circle and the people that I'm not keeping in my circle.
Yeah.
And so God is making that clear. There's people that God has put
Yeah.
in my circle. And I'm like, you need to be here. And there's other people He's making it clear, like, I don't need to be around you anymore, right?
Yeah.
Because the people that are around us, that God has placed us, again, I live in Florida. I live in Sunrise, Florida. I can only reach and speak to specific people in my circle. This podcast will
Yeah.
allow me to reach a little more, right? But outside of
Yep.
that, the people that I can see and touch and reach, I have to be very mindful. And so I'm taking more
Yeah.
time. I'm taking more time and energy to make sure that if I'm in a room, that I am willing and able to speak into their life, and that I'm willing to receive information from their life as well. It's a give and
Yeah.
take. So,
Yeah.
so that's, yeah, that's what God has shown me, man. Is like, be very mindful about the people that I'm coming across with. Like, relationship has
Yep.
definitely, been a very big focus for me, and also networking, making sure I'm finding new relationships, cultivating old relationships, and making sure that these relationships aren't just about making money. Because in the commercial real estate
Yeah.
business, like, hey, I want to be your friend because I want to sell your building. I really don't want to be like
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
right? But
Yep.
I want to be your friend because I just want to be your friend, and you happen to sell. I mean, you happen to own a building, but I do want the
Yeah.
opportunity to interview at the table when that time is right, when you're thinking about it. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's a service mindset. Sales is service. So no, you hit the nail on the head, man. All right, so with season 2, we started a new thing, and we've got the wheel. We're gonna spin the wheel. So on this board, we've got a bunch of topics before we go. So we got all these topics written down. I'm gonna spin the wheel, and we're gonna jam on it, and that's the topic that we'll end with. You ready?
all right, go ahead.
All right, here we go. Let's see. How do you relax? This is actually a question that I missed earlier. So I did write this down because with 6 kids, with running a business, with getting after it every single day, your time is constantly, I don't say everybody else's, but even when you're at work, you're working for your family. So when do you get time to yourself, and how do you use that to relax, unplug, recharge? What does that look like in the life of Cleveland?
It's funny that you asked that. I was just talking to my wife the other day, and I was like, we need to relax because every weekend has been a recital or a birthday party or someone coming over or we're going to someone's home. But to answer that question, to make it real simple, uh, I play chess a lot. I'm a real big chess
Mm,
player, right?
yep.
You can find me playing chess all the time, like to calm down and to take it easy. And we've also become a chess family, so everybody in the family knows how to play chess. My son, actually, I'm very happy to hear that my son has recently won a trophy. His last tournament, he won second place. In the tournament after that, he won seventh place. And so I'm making the thing that makes me relax. I'm in engaging the rest of the family with that activity as well,
Yeah.
right? So the
Yeah.
word relaxing to me in many ways is finding an outlet where my mind could just be at ease without having to be on go at
Yeah.
100%, right? I can still just enjoy and have fun. So yeah, I play a lot of chess, man. I'm a big chess player.
That's fun, man, and that's a great way to relax and have your mind put somewhere else. Because yeah, it's not so much even like taking a break from your brain, right? Like your brain has to work during chess, but like it is taking a break from the business, any stresses, any pressures, any family stuff. Like, but to engage in the game and with your kids, that is a great way to relax. So, hey, when we stop this recording, hang out for just a minute afterwards. The track has to upload. But, Cleveland, anything else you want the people to know? What are you looking forward to? Anything else you want to mention before we run here?
Well, yeah, one thing I'd like to make sure that you guys are aware, in the world of commercial real estate, it's all about just being yourself. I mentioned earlier on in our conversation that imposter syndrome. I find myself getting on phone calls like, "Hey, good afternoon. My name is Cleveland," and I have to sound a certain way. It's not until
Yep.
recently, in the past 6 to 12 months, I've just been like me, like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
Right? Like, "What's up? What's going
Yeah.
on?"
Yeah.
All right? Like, it's okay to say what's up because that's where I'm from. That's how I grew up.
Yeah.
So, but still maintaining a level of professionalism and being able to provide credibility. So, it's okay to be you, right? Like, and in this
Yeah.
world of
Yeah.
commercial
Yeah.
real estate, and the reason I'm saying that, there's not a lot of like people in commercial real estate, right? So sometimes I'm in rooms where I'm not in a room where it's like people look like me, and that's okay. And that I don't feel weird for that. Like I don't have to fit the way you speak, or I can just be me. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a young guy from East Fort Lauderdale, and I know how to sell commercial real estate. So what's up? Let's do business.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's happening, bro?
I love that, man, and people, yes, people appreciate that and they respect that. When you come off with the super cookie cutter, suit and tie type script, it's just like, man, I want to talk to a real person,
Yeah,
and I know that's not how you talk as a real person. Someone taught you to talk like that, and of course, always having respect and being well spoken, but like, what's up?
yeah. What's
Like
up?
I want to relate to people here. People do deals with people, and that's how you build trust and relationships. So, Man, this has been awesome. Round 2 did not disappoint. I'm super grateful for you, brother. You're always here to bring the heat, bring a good word, and you're just a light, man. You're a light to so many people, your family, your office, but now all the listeners of the CRE Arena, they know more about you. Hopefully they know more about themselves, the commercial real estate market, and most importantly, hopefully they know more about the Lord because of you here today. So I cannot thank you enough for that, man, and we'll do it again here soon. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll catch you on the CRE Arena next time. Peace.